they might have a "you're not working on it" clause here. Yeah. I smell starting fluid, so people are really trying. Yeah, they got it plugged in. They got a little generator right on that thing. Ooh, I want that. Yeah, there we are. The Bulldog. Nice. Whoops. Yeah. Well, this is American made.
Yeah.
The Bulldog. DF, it's, oh, come on, it's not that old. It's got a website right on the hood.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that. And that's actually Dong Feng.
Dong Feng, any New England?
I don't think so, because Bulldog was imported from Oregon.
I do not recognize this engine. I was really hoping you'd prop this hood up and I'd go, oh yeah, that looks just like a whatever. Well, it has oil, but it's very dirty. Oh wow, look at all those wires. I wonder if that's the leak.
Runs underneath, I can't see.
Okay, trace of wire. Let's see. That goes. This goes to your starter, so this one's positive. Over here.
They probably put a jacket on.
Well, it said it was 1 this morning when we got up, so.
Yeah, I had.
Yeah, somebody redid that whole JCB. Of course, the hood's open and there's starting fluid on it, so painting it don't make it run. I like that one over there, that's a bicycle seat clamp. I mean, it works, but still, it's for a bicycle seat. I mean, it's kind of genius, really. I don't know about that, that's not, but let's tap that on there. And then, you know, quick disconnect. I'd have too much fun if I worked at a place like this.
Oh, yeah.
Look at this intake. That is incredible.
Heavy duty.
Oh, does this have one of those weird? Yeah, it does. I don't know if this is gonna start. I think, don't quote me yet. So these are your return lines off your injectors. So that if you have too much fuel, it goes through here and it goes back to the tank. This line is a feed that goes into your intake, and there's a little electrical resistor in there. So when you prime this and you hit that electrical resistor, it heats up and it lights a tiny little fire in your intake, and it heats it up because it's burning fuel, and it makes hot air and heats this whole thing up. So when you start it, it's using hot air. That's like old school Ford. That's what they used to do. Oh boy. We got a key that can never leave. Try your lights. Well, let's see if the starter does anything first. Let's it's not, your armature's not coming out to engage the engine. Which, you know, when it's 1 degree is often an issue. Especially if it's soaked with water and oil. The gauges do move. Well, it says you've already got oil pressure, which I doubt. We're drawing 20 amps on the battery.
That's a little concerning.
That one doesn't move. You've got almost no fuel, and the temperature gauge, surprisingly, is cold. I like the Bondo work here. That right there says that we either don't have enough battery to make that spin fast enough to work, or when your starter spins, there's an armature in there with a gear, and when it spins, the centrifugal speed of it pushes the armature out. That engages the engine. If it's not spinning fast enough, it won't go out far enough, or if that thing's all sticky and gooey and it's really cold, it won't move because it's so sticky. So we need to, I guess we need to ask them if we're allowed to come in here with jumper cables and such. And if not, we just got to ask them to pull this thing out and put it on the trailer. That's bonus.
Bonus filter.
Wow, it would not take much for this to come off of here. Well, let's find someone that works here.
Yeah, I think it's that guy in the...
So many tractors. Project today, a friend of mine bought this Bulldog tractor, which is a Chinese import from the early 2000s from Dong or something like that. We couldn't get it to start at the auction lot because it was like 1 degree out. The starter would spin, but the armature wouldn't move out to engage the engine, so it's a little warmer today. Probably gonna pop the starter off, make sure the engine turns over by hand, and make sure the starter actually works. Shouldn't be too bad, it's right there. We'll throw a battery back in it with some more juice, see what happens. They said it has a hydraulic leak, which I believe it has a couple other leaks as well, but said at the auction lot something blew. And everything here is completely soaked, so goal for this thing is to see if it runs. If it's mechanically sound, we'll make a list of everything else that we need to fix on it. I found a bunch of stuff just looking it over. Obviously the hood support's a little crushed, but it's a neat little tractor. It's pretty stout. Koyker front loader. And then it has its own little mini backhoe. And that is made by Liberties Unlimited Inc, China. So who knows, but it's a cute little thing. Pretty standard looking starter, to be honest. I guess it's original because it's all Chinese writing. We'll bench test it. See how that goes. So when this starter spins, that's supposed to move like that. And this one, it's not moving out. It's spinning, but oh, there we go. Alright, so on this starter, I should have known better, there's a solenoid here, pushes on a lever that pushes that gear out. So you gotta have this hooked up as well. So when you give it power, that jumps out and engages your engine. I'm guessing that because it was so cold out, this wasn't doing that. It was just spinning. Whenever you see an excessive amount of electrical tape on something, it usually means whatever's in there isn't good. Check this out. The post bolt off of a bike seat. You think about your bicycle, this is what you tighten and loosen up the seat post with. So I don't know if they sell these like this or... kind of genius actually, but I'm not going to give them too much credit. Every oil reservoir I could find has something in it, so if it does start, we're not going to fry anything. It's still chained to the trailer. We kind of just need to see if it works at all. So, fingers crossed. Contact? Click. Only one though. Now we got nothing. Now we've got absolutely nothing. We've got no gauges. All right. Now this, dang it. Oh yeah. When you start seeing stuff like this, we've got problems. Oh. It's a solid engagement. Instead of messing with this janky switch, we're gonna go get a push button so we can bypass all of that. Just run the starter on its own. We got our bypass. This is our new ignition key. Big surprise, we've got an issue getting power from this terrible connection on the battery to the starter. Raise your hand if you saw that coming. Okay, real battery connection. Take two. Contact. I didn't like the sound of that. I'm gonna get a battery, jumper cables. We're gonna hook directly to that starter. So, now we've bypassed the ignition switch and we're assisting the onboard battery because I think those wires and terminals are shot. So, contact, take three. Ooh. It's a good sound. I'll take that. I've gotten a full rotation though. might look complicated, but where that battery goes, there's a wire that runs all the way over here to the starter, directly off the battery. All I've done is replaced the wire and the battery that goes from here to the front of the tractor. I've now put on this larger cable that goes to this battery. I've hooked the ground from this battery to the ground of the tractor. All I've done is move the battery from the front to right here. No magic. Hopefully we've got more amps now. Contact 4. Okay, I'll take it. Need more ground. Ground smoking. Contact 4. Yes. Okay. That was the problem. We weren't getting enough amps out of that system. Whoa. It's alive. Got no gauges. There's the hydraulic leak. Whoa. Was not expecting that to start. Thing's still cold and I didn't do any assist. You weren't kidding. Okay, we're gonna start this again. And hopefully whatever's leaking here is just a hose. Like it sprays right out of this housing. That's not good. Chances are there's water in the system. It got up here in this head and it froze. Something might be split or it pushed a seal out. Hard to tell. So one of the issues you end up having with stuff like this, I believe this was only imported for like 4 or 5 years from what I can find. These engines are in a ton of tractors, so it's easier now, but before the days of the internet, if you needed parts, you couldn't get them. And who knows, maybe this thing's been sitting for 5-10 years with that same problem, just because no one could find the part. Thankfully we've got the internet now, and I know exactly what tractors have this engine. There's a whole bunch of them, but maybe the reason this thing was for sale is because you can't get that part. Or maybe you can, and it's not worth buying it because it costs more than the tractor. So we'll do some digging, see exactly what's in there, what the problem might be. Hopefully it's as simple as taking it apart, putting new seals in. So I'm gonna pull all of this off, probably make a mess, get these 4 bolts off, I hope, and then we can look at this pump on the other side and see why it's leaking. And with any luck, if there's something just undone, we'll put it back in, and worst case, you just buy a new one. It's worth, if you come this far, you might as well see if the rest of it works. I'm not trying to pick on people, but this is an import. It's probably pretty cheap. And you always risk not being able to get parts. You're not gonna be able to find stuff. Support's gonna be limited. Dealer items, so on and so forth. It's the same thing with cars. People buy new Mini Coopers and stuff and think they're great till they have to get the brakes changed and realize there's no aftermarket support here. You gotta go to the dealer for everything. Even the tires are weird. It's the same thing with equipment. It's the first year they're importing this thing. Well, there aren't a ton of them around. No one's gonna have any experience. No one's gonna know what they are. Unless you know how to do all this stuff yourself, well, you're kind of at someone's mercy. Here's a PSA for keeping your tractor under cover. I'm guessing either there was water inside of this pump and it froze and expanded, but chances are it was just in the threads of these bolts. And it got down in here, cracked that aluminum housing. Because this O-ring in this puck, when it seats on there, it does not keep water out of these bolt holes. It's my guess. Luckily a new one's under $100, so it won't be long till we're back in business.